Mr. Chair, you are live.
All right, thanks, Julian. Good evening, everybody. We'll call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. It is June 7th, 2023 at 7:05 p.m. We have all board members present tonight, which would include Vice Chair Kia Baskerville, Dick Peterson, Claire Conger, Ryan Chitwood. We also have Deputy City Clerk Cynthia Gaines and Assistant City Attorney Ashley Leonard with us tonight. First order of business, has the board had the opportunity to review the minutes of our last meeting, and are there any additions, corrections, or modifications?
Yes and no.
Yes, no.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move we approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, the minutes will stand as approved. I'd like to state for the record that since this is a virtual hearing, anybody who wishes to submit public comment may do so by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. Any comments made will be accepted as part of the official record. And so now we will turn it over and we will declare our public hearing open. First item on our agenda, we have an application for a new alcoholic beverage license for Adams Ribs East, Inc., trading as Adams on 4th Street, 424 4th Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403. As I said, this is an application for a new alcoholic beverage license, a Class B4XAB beer, wine, and liquor, on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days a week with a special Sunday license. In addition, sales is authorized from midnight to 2 a.m. In addition, off sales Monday through Sunday during hours. In addition, off sales Sunday during authorized hours, which is a special Sunday license by Sean Leahy, Noel Velasquez, and Ryan Toomey for the premises known as Adams Ribs East, Inc., trading as Adams on 4th Street, 424 4th Street, Annapolis, 21403. Good evening, Mr. Dales. How are you?
Very good, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to you as well, to members of the board. I've got two of the licensees here in person with me, and I see the third's logged in separately from another location. Not sure if
Okay.
going for the swearing in, I'll have them come over in front of the camera here.
Yep, that's great. We'll do that right now, and then we'll have everybody put their name and address on the record. All right. Hey, everyone, if you guys could all just raise your right hand. All right. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to have everybody put their name and address on the record for me. So we'll start with the individuals who are sitting in Mr. Dales's chairs. If you could just give us your full names and address for the record, and then they'll have Mr. Velasquez do the same.
Yeah, it'll be Ryan Toomey, 428 4th Street, Suite 8, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
All right, thank you.
Sean Leahy, 436 Capstan Court, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
All right, thank you, Mr. Leahy. And then Mr. Velasquez, if you could do the same, please.
Noel Velasquez, my direction is 8020 George William Avenue, Pasadena, Maryland.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Dales, we'll let you return to your seat now. And you can go ahead and present your client's case by way of proffer, testimony, or a combination of both. Tell us a little bit about the license. And then obviously, if you want to have your clients testify, we can do that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're going to rely mostly tonight on the application materials that we've filed with you. We trust you all have read them. We know it helps these meetings go quicker when we don't reiterate all the things we've already put forward in written materials. But we are going to provide some testimony on what we think are key issues for you. And before we do that, I'd like to touch on a couple of preliminary matters. First, having reviewed the special exception for this restaurant, we're aware that there are limitations on the hours of operation placed by the Board of Appeals. And we have asked intentionally for the 2 a.m. license, but we'll put on the record here that the hours of operation, in fact, will comply with the Board of Appeals requirements. And we've only asked for that 2 a.m. To provide a cushion in the first place for corralling customers after we've stopped serving, and for those rare events where there may be either employee events or unique special events that if the Board of Appeals were to agree, or the Office of Planning and Zoning would agree that that was in compliance with the restrictions they have placed, we wouldn't want to not be able to take advantage of that for lack of the 2 a.m. license. So we would ask that if the board sees fit to restrict the hours beyond the 2 a.m. or more than the 2 a.m., we would ask that just be a condition that all operations comply with the hours restrictions in the Board of Appeals approval. So I wanted to say that as a technical matter. And then one other technical issue, this property is under construction currently, and the floor plans that we submitted are accurate as to the number of seats in this restaurant. There are 65. But should that change, and should anything about the building itself change during construction or because of minor modifications to those plans, we'd of course submit those to you for administrative approval so that the licensed premises match what's been approved by planning and zoning. So with that as preliminary matters, I'll just say this is an application for a new license by licensees who bring a wealth of experience from an existing staple in the Annapolis restaurant community. And I think the board will be fully comforted that they'll be capable of operating the license in a manner that's not at all disruptive to the community, and that is safe and in compliance with all of the board's requirements. So with that said, I'd ask Mr. Leahy to start his testimony, and he's already been sworn in. So Mr. Chairman, I'll just begin with questions for him, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Mr. Dales. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you very much. So Mr. Leahy, you're a member of the corporation applicant on the liquor license application, owner, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And prior to the issuance of this license, you will have completed the crowd management training and the alcohol awareness training to make sure yours is up to date if it isn't already?
They're all up to date.
Okay, thank you very much. And you understand that the rules of this board and state code relating to alcoholic beverage licenses and being a license holder, is that right?
Correct.
All right. And you understand that whether or not you're there as an owner every day for the daily operations, you would be responsible for violations under this license?
Correct.
Okay. And you're familiar with the criteria in the Maryland Alcoholic Beverage Article, Section 4210 for a new license?
Correct.
And why don't you tell the board a little bit about your experience in the restaurant industry locally and elsewhere?
Well, first of all, thank you all for your time, and I don't bore you with all my experience, but I've been doing this for over 40 years, both as an employee, as an owner, and also for handling large events. And I've taken your crowd control course a couple of times, tips certified, and I don't know what else to tell you.
And so, Mr. Lee, you're confident from your experience, you'll be able to manage the customers that are being served alcohol, make sure that they're not overserved and they're not disruptive to the community?
Correct.
And you wouldn't allow any kind of loitering outside of the bar if you're aware of it?
No.
And you wouldn't allow for any kind of overly loud noises to come off the restaurant and disturb the neighbors to the rear of the property?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it for Mr. Leahy. I'll give you a little more color on the restaurant and the concept here with Mr. Toomey's testimony.
All right.
So Mr.
Hello,
Toomey,
everybody. How are we doing?
Mr. Toomey, you're also an owner of the applicant corporation, correct?
Yes.
All right, and you have completed, if you haven't already, all the crowd management training and alcohol awareness training prior to the issuance of this license?
Correct.
Okay, and you understand all the rules of the city and of the state alcoholic beverage article related to alcoholic beverages?
Correct.
And you know that whether or not you're present as an owner in the day-to-day operations, if there are any violations under this license, you would be responsible and have to appear before this board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you're also familiar with Maryland Alcoholic Beverage Article 4210?
Yes.
Okay, good. And could you tell us a little bit about your personal experience in the restaurant industry?
Yeah,
Go
for
ahead.
sure. I've been in this industry for a long time. So my family, prior to moving back to the area, I was in North Carolina, bartending, managing bars for 10 to 15 years. Just in my blood, and I love to bring something new to the area that everyone can enjoy.
Thank you. And so just like Mr. Leahy, you feel like your experience working at restaurants that have liquor licenses would allow you to help ensure that the customers that you serve wouldn't be disruptive to the community or cause any kind of any problems in the local surrounding area?
Yes,
Okay, and so you'd make sure that trash and noise and any kind of littering wouldn't be permitted or tolerated outside the restaurant?
correct.
Okay, very good. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this new concept and what you're thinking for the new location?
Yeah, basically at the current location that we've been operating for 30 plus years now, we kind of want to just come in, change the menu up a little bit, freshen things up, put a focus on cocktails, wine and beer, not a rowdy scene by any means, but more so be more family, local oriented, bringing in flavors from the current area and focus on seasonal changes and things like that.
All right, thank you. And I understand that the current Adams East, where you've worked, is going through a change as that property becomes under development, and that the focus there would shift more towards catering. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And for the board, it's obviously you're aware that there's development plan there, and so it's hard to anticipate with certainty what's going to happen at that property. So as the changes occur there and the shift in focus happens, this new concept will, as I understand it, take all of the good things from the current location, then add to it in this new location of districts. All right.
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of is there a connection to local food and beverage sourcing that you're going to have at this new location?
Yeah, we would definitely want to try to source from local purveyors as much as we can. Even like local seafood markets, local breweries, anything we can to give back to the community and again, sell from our location is something we'll be like looking towards. So.
And you think most of the clientele would be from the local communities with some visitors coming in as well?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and can you briefly tell the board about the new facility and the new building? They have the floor plans, but if you just tell them a little bit about the layout, that'd be good.
Yeah, the layout, it's kind of designed to feel open and airy. You walk in, there's a large mezzanine that draws your eye up. I think it's just a beautiful floor plan, and it'll be cool to kind of do something a little bit more heightened, but nothing too over the top. So.
All right, and I talked about this with my preliminary comments, but you understand that there's limitations on the hours for operations in the special exception, correct?
Correct.
And you will comply with those hours?
Yes, we will comply every way possible. So.
Thank you. And you said that your experience will allow you to accomplish this, but could you confirm that the trash will be handled in an efficient, clean way and won't affect the streets in Eastport?
Yes.
And the same for noise. Can you confirm that the noise won't be permitted to exceed the levels in the city code?
Yes.
All right. And are you going to make sure that at least a manager or one of the employees present will always have alcohol awareness training?
Yes.
All right. And I think this is another important question here. You feel confident based on all of the work you've done in getting approvals and designing and planning the restaurant that there is a demand for what you described in the Eastport community and in Annapolis more generally?
Yes, I do believe so.
All right. Well, very good. I think for the board, we'll stop our case there and just take questions from you. Anything you might want to hear from me or from either applicant, either licensee. We're here to answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dales. I appreciate it. So I really appreciate you addressing the hours of operation up front. For the record, we have received a few complaints or a few comments, I should say, from members of the public concerning the extended hours of operation. But since your client has notified us that they plan on abiding by the special exception hours, that's sufficient. I appreciate you putting that on the record to begin with. How many employees are you planning on hiring from the outset, or are you just transferring the employees from the old location to the new location?
I would say the majority of our employees were going to be transferring over. With the current location, we might draw back on hours depending on how things go once we start operating at the new place. We have upwards of 55 employees, I believe now. And I would say we'd probably at least bring a quarter at least, and then probably hire maybe 20 to 30 from the outside, depending.
And would it be fair to say that some of those people at the current location are more focused on the catering that'll remain there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And are you planning on training these employees to make sure they're tips trained? Are your employees who serve alcohol all already tips trained?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
That's already something what we do at the current location, and then we'll continue to carry that on. So.
All right, gotcha. All right, well, that's all that I have. We'll turn it over to members of the board for any additional questions.
Yeah, I want to follow up on the question of tips training.
Mhm.
Now, Mr. Dales just mentioned that a manager and some employees would be tips trained. We are strongly recommending that all employees who handle alcohol be tips trained.
Okay.
Would you agree to that?
Yes, I would agree to that.
Great, thank you.
And, my question is that, look, you guys have run a well-oiled machine for a long time. You have this opportunity. And you mentioned, Ryan, about, what you can bring to the neighborhood and actually, what can you bring to the neighborhood? Why do you think this is a good move and how it will benefit the folks in the surrounding area?
I think it's a good move because I feel at the current place, we bring a certain community feeling that not a lot of other businesses carry in the area. And moving forward, I just want to focus on the community first and make sure that it's a place for locals to congregate and have a good time.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
No further questions.
Okay. And I just have one question that I didn't see covered in what we were sent. With it being on 4th Street,
Mhm.
how is parking going to work? Because there's not a lot of parking in Eastport, and it is a neighborhood. So I'm just wondering, what you guys have in mind to
Ms. Conger,
handle
there's
the
actually-
influx in parking.
There's actually a required parking program for part of the special exception. And so that's been
Okay.
it's got basically negotiated in detail, and it's even been recorded.
Okay.
So there will be requirements
Okay,
for that.
fantastic.
Parking program.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dick, go ahead.
I know that, the parking is supposed to be addressed and all that. But again, and Ryan hopefully will tell you that there's very little parking on 4th Street. Very little, unless you come there at 12:30, 1 o'clock at night. The other thing is, as concern to everybody that lives in Eastport, is we do have a parking problem. And, people listening tonight are really wondering, what is going to happen? You're proposing 65 seats, I believe. Right now, if you drive by Adams Ribs in Eastport, on any given night, the parking lot is full. So how is that going really to keep everybody happy?
Mr.
How are
Producer,
you going to address that?
let me start by just giving a couple of details about the parking program, and then I'll ask Mr. Toomey to give you some details on how that's going to be administered. But the parking program, people will be surprised to understand how many spaces there actually are at this property. And parking program shifts the requirements from the day into the evening when those spaces are more available. So there's a certain number of spaces that will be available in the daytime and more in the evening. But the parking program addresses this in detail to ensure there is on-site parking required for that in the required amount provided by the city code for this number of seats. So the spaces are there and they'll be managed in accordance with this program. I think Mr. Toomey can add some more detail on that and also tell you how they're actually going to make sure that people, are complying with the requirements that they have to abide by.
Yeah, and like I said, we will have 24 spots, which I believe we have more parking to offer than any of the other businesses in the area. And we'll always have a manager on duty, making sure that those spots that are being parked in are for our customers only and nobody else.
Right, so just currently for everyone's knowledge, the requirement in the city code is 30% essentially of the seats that you have. So with the 65 seats and the number of spaces Mr. Toomey just mentioned, they are certainly going to comply with that. And those numbers shift as to the availability of the parking spaces. And what's key to that is making sure from the management perspective, there are other people taking up those spaces that are needed for the restaurant seats.
I guess my question is, I know you said that there'll be managers on staff that will look after the whole parking situation, but I mean, honestly, how are they going to manage who parks there and who doesn't? It's going to be under, as I understand it, and I've seen the schematic, it's going to be under the building. I mean, really, how is that going to be monitored?
The parking lot, I mean, it is. We do have a camera pointed on the right side of the building, 3 cameras actually, all aimed in the parking lot, to which we will have a screen inside the restaurant itself. So it'll be monitored 24/7.
Yeah, and this is a shift for this business, but it's not a novel issue for any restaurant or business located in a more urban environment. And whenever there's a tight parking situation, you're going to have to use cameras, restrict parking with signage that says it's for the customers of the business only. And then you make sure that you monitor your lot. So if there becomes a problem that those spaces are being used by people who aren't customers of the business, you can tell that through your cameras or through the inavailability of spaces that should be available according to your signage. So that problem will be addressed in the same way that it is by any other business that exists in an urban space or anywhere where parking is tight. It's a valuable commodity, and the people who own and manage this business will certainly be motivated to be sure that that's available to them and their customers.
My question is, do you have extra parking spaces then for the residences that you're going to have up in your building? I believe you're going to have some apartments in your building.
Yeah, Mr. Pearson, those are part of the parking program, but we actually have one of the owners of the business here who might be able to provide more detail. If the board would like, we could have Mr. Brian Toomey be sworn in and answer some more questions about the details of the parking at that property. Mr. Chairman, would you like for us to do that?
Yeah, I think if it's going to help Mr. Peterson in his question, we can swear him in.
Sure, let's do that. Mr. Brian Toomey, come over from a.
Good evening, everyone.
All right, Mr. Toomey, if you could raise your right hand for me, please.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
Yes.
And let's just get your name, full name and address for the record.
Brian Toomey, 408 Fox Hollow Lane, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
All right, thank you.
So Mr. Peterson had asked about the details of the parking for the residents and the number of spaces, and I felt like you could provide more detail on that.
Yeah, I can give you 8 years of detail on that. As you may know, we are one of the only restaurants in Eastport who has code required parking. Why you see parking as being a major problem right now in Eastport, if you want to ask me, is some of the restaurants that are there have expanded without adding parking. And in addition, there's been some outside seating that has taken away some parking. So that's all under a temporary outside seating thing that came with COVID. So as you may see, there's a tent in Boatyard's parking lot. It's amazing to me that somebody is scrutinized so much who has code required parking when some of these other restaurants that have virtually do not have code required parking are actually using their parking lots to add more seats, which are bringing more cars to the area.
Well, in addition to the code required parking, maybe give me some details on the parking program.
Our parking program is basically that we have cameras on the lot, we have numbered spaces. We haven't really gone in detail with this with the other managers because we're still, months away from opening. It's actually recorded with our deed to make sure it's enforced. And it was one of the requirements to our special exception. We will then have the cameras which we just installed, did all the wiring for the cameras on the number spaces. Our point of sale system is able to, when somebody comes into the restaurant, we'll ask them what parking space they are in. At that point, we will then put the parking space into that table they were sitting at. When the table is vacated, we'll make sure that that parking space has been vacated also. If there's walking traffic or bike traffic, which we're required to have a bike rack as well. Since it is an urban environment, you're going to see a lot of people who are walking and coming by bike,
What about for
which
the
you've seen in
residents?
some of the other areas.
What about the residents in the building?
The residents in the building have their parking there. So for each apartment, there's one parking space. And then for the daytime commercial uses, they are only allowed to they have actually a parking permit, and they're only allowed to be on the lot until 5 p.m. At which time we'll go sweep the lot. There's a half-hour period where we have to sweep the lot and have those people exit the lot. So then we go from 45 seats to 65 seats in the evening with the additional parking. And those are the shared parking spaces, which were approved by the
And
city.
Mr. Peterson, that was what I was referring to when you asked earlier about the number of spaces. So there are separate spaces for the residents.
Right.
And then the number of seats approved change from when the business is operating the property leave after the end of the workday.
Thank you. That was what I was trying to get an answer to.
Yeah. So there actually is enough for the restaurant, code required parking, and also for the residents. In addition, I talked to Pastor Lewis about actually using his lot at the church for additional parking.
You
At
have
prices.
it.
What's that? He
You have
said he wouldn't put it in writing. He said, but I'm a good neighbor and I'll allow you to use the parking lot. So we'll see.
I think for the purpose of this tonight, the idea is the owners and the applicants here are interested in having as much as they can for their customers, off the streets if they possibly can.
Yeah.
Even in excess of what's required.
All right, any additional questions?
No, I think they've made very valid points, and I have no further questions.
I do have one question. If granted tonight, when would you want to pick up your license?
So we included that in our application, but I'll ask again because we're
Sorry,
now
I may have missed it.
But I think that's good you asked, Mr. Chairman, because I think based on where we are in the current construction process, I'll just remind Mr. Timmy that we'd have a year to pick it up and then 6 months to renew. And so let's pick a date at which you're comfortable that you'll be finished construction, and that will set that as to start the clock.
Yeah, we're hoping to open around October 15th with Boat Show being in town. We probably will not open. We just open for some private parties to work out the kinks. So we probably want to have the license prior to that. And then hope to open full swing November 1.
Would you say October 1 as a pickup date?
October 1 is probably a good pickup date.
All right, great. Just wanted to make sure that we have a date here. All right.
You got to hold me to that because I'm only as good as the construction company.
Yeah, I know. I completely understand that. I completely understand that.
I can't remember the last licensee you picked it up on the day of.
With a new build, it very rarely happens. Does anybody have any further questions regarding this application request?
No.
No.
All right. Hearing none, do I hear a motion regarding this application for a new Class B for XAB beer, wine, and liquor license for the corporation known as Adams Ribs East Inc., trading as Adams on 4th Street, 424 4th Street, Annapolis, Maryland 21403.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is that only
Aye.
3?
Great.
Okay, all opposed? Claire, were you for it or?
I said I said aye.
Okay, sorry, I didn't catch you. All right, we'll have it. The motion is carried. Congratulations, and we will note that Mr. Peterson opposed the license.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
All right, well, with that, we will close the public hearing and we will move on to new business. First item is a special class C one-day liquor license to the Naval Academy, or excuse me, for Pints for Paws, which is for the Annapolis Home Brew Club, scheduled on Saturday, June 10th, 2023, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 550 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis 21401. Give it a minute to see who we have for Pints for Paws.
Everyone, how are you?
Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you
All
for your
right.
time.
No problem. Can you just give us your full name and address for the record?
Absolutely. David Castleberry, 2811 Settlers View Drive, Odenton, Maryland, 21113.
All right. Thank you so much. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this event? We'll see then if the board has any questions.
Sure. So this is the 7th annual Pints for Paws event. It is for the SPCA of Anne Arundel County. All proceeds do go to them. It is an 5-hour event with bands, food trucks, vendors, and breweries, as well as home brewers. It is put on by the Annapolis Homebrew Club, which I am the president of. And basically, VIP will enter at 1 p.m. They have early entrance from 1 until 2 p.m., general admission from 2 till 6. It is all you can drink. The attendees get a pint glass with a 5-ounce mark on the glass, so that our pourers know to only give tasters. And then we generate money through the vendors, through the ticket sales, through the silent auction, all for the SPCA. I believe this is the 4th year we've been doing it at the Naval Marine Corps Stadium parking lot.
All right. And then is it a 21 and older event, or do you allow underage people there?
We do allow 16, or excuse me, we do allow underage 16 and older, obviously for DD tickets. Children are allowed in as our pets, but we do wristband, and the individuals who are in charge of the wristbanding are our security, which is JWS Security. They are also the individuals that hold the crowd management certification.
All right. And it's the same setup as you guys did last year?
Almost. We actually increased ticket sales to a total to 750. However, we haven't even broke the original 500 yet, so we're a couple of days away and kind of panicking a little bit, but we so far have sold 370 tickets.
Okay. Any issues last year that we should be aware of?
No. Our previous I would say the previous issue our security detail let us know is the way we were setting up fencing. We did do the fencing ourselves the previous years. This year we are bringing in and renting fencing. So they will be dropping it off on Saturday, barricade style fencing, as opposed to the flimsy vinyl fencing that we used to use. So security group was not too thrilled. So they're a lot happier this year.
Sounds like a nice added improvement. Does the board have any questions regarding this request?
Are you all home brewers, or are you having craft beer?
Yes, we have over 50 home brews, but then we have 6 professional breweries that are pouring as well.
So 6, did you say 60?
6, just 6.
No, of the home brewers.
Home brewers over 50, 50. It can be beer, seltzer, or cider, but no actual hard liquor.
Any additional questions?
It's a great cause, and I hope you get the 750 that you deserve, because it's for dogs.
Thank you. Yes, the SPCA is bringing out their mobile again this year. If you all aren't doing anything, come on out. I do understand that the new Annapolis Blues have a home game a little bit later after our event Saturday for the football club. So maybe we can get a little help from them as well.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve.
I second
A
it.
second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
All right, your request is granted. Have fun. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you
Good
so
luck.
much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have an application for a substitution of an officer on an alcoholic beverage license for CR Brands LLC, trading as Chicken Ruths, located at 165 Main Street, Annapolis 21401. The licensee to be removed is Matthew Taylor, and then the licensee to be added is Peter Selleck. And I see we have Mr. Selleck here and Mr. Jones here. How are you both tonight?
Doing
well,
well.
thank
you.
All right, great. If we could get your names and addresses for the record, and then you could just tell us a little bit about this substitution. I'll start with Mr. Jones' name, full name and address, and then Mr. Selleck, if you could do the same thing, please.
Spencer Jones, address 1830 North Forest Court, apartment C in Crofton, Maryland.
All right, Mr. Selleck?
Pete Selleck, 2975 Curie Street, San Diego, California.
All right, Mr. Jones, why don't you tell us a little bit about this substitution request?
Yeah, so this is kind of the second half of our substitution that we were trying to get on last month. So Matthew and Lisa Taylor exited the business and sold their shares back. And so this kind of, I guess from an ownership percentage right now, the overwhelming majority owner of CR Brands is the estate of Keith Jones, my father's estate. And my uncle Pete is the executor of that estate. So from a technical legal standpoint, I guess that gives him sort of majority ownership control. And so it was kind of advised to us that when we did these liquor license substitutions that he should be on as well, given that position. When my dad's estate closes, those shares will go into a trust. And Pete is the trustee of that trust, and I am the sole beneficiary until I turn 30. So given that, we thought this kind of made the most sense as far as our three licensees.
Okay. Does the board have any questions about this substitution request?
I do not.
All right, well, hearing none, I would move that we approve the substitution request and we remove Matthew Taylor from the license and add Peter Selleck, and I'd look for a second.
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 All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
All right, your request is granted. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, folks. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Dry 85, an application for a modification of an alcoholic beverage license for the Sidewalk Cafe to Dry 85 LLC, trading as Dry 85, 139B Main Street, Annapolis 21401. And I see Miss Bolter is here. Can you turn your camera on, Miss Bolter? Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you could just give us your name and address and then tell us a little bit about what you're looking for.
Lisa Bolter. Do you want my home address or
Yeah, home address is great. Thanks.
16 Canal Lane, Annapolis 21409. And actually, I think you had the address wrong for Dry 85. It's 193B.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I said, maybe I said something wrong, but it is 193.
Okay.
Got it here.
Yes.
I may have said it incorrectly.
Gotcha. So we're actually just looking to add 2 small cafe tables to what is basically the perimeter in front of Dry 85. Right now, we currently have 2 tables there, which are under the awning. And right next to those tables on both sides, there is still some space that has bricking on it where we can fit. And we did this during COVID, along with, of course, all the other tables as well. But kind of found that this worked out really well for us and still allowed us to stay within the perimeter of our space in our Sidewalk Cafe, if allowed. Essentially, the way it looks is we have from that brick part of the building to the sidewalk about 9.5 feet. And so this table would take up about 2.5 of that. So we'd still be left with a solid 7 feet between the table and the end of the sidewalk to the street.
All right. Does the board have any questions regarding this request?
So the doors to these closets are inside the building, right? You're not
Yes.
blocking doors, but it's not an exterior door.
No, they're just, it's just sort of the panel, and on the inside are just closets in there.
And I just saw the ones, there's the gas line. It looks like your gas shutoff is in that closet. So I just
Yes.
want to make sure there wasn't a table being put in front of a door
No,
in
they're
in the event of a terrible gas emergency.
that would not be desirable.
Any additional questions regarding this request?
I motion for approval.
Second.
A second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, your request is granted. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
Are we able to do it right away, or do we have to wait?
Cindy, do you want to comment on?
This board is just approving you to have alcohol, but you ultimately have to be approved by Public Works, and they have to come out and measure and make sure everything is to code.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I'm thinking.
So
Yeah,
I will forward your application to Public Works tomorrow, and they should contact you.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right, we'll combine items 6, 7, and 8 on our agenda. These are all requests for special Class C one-day liquor licenses for Maryland Hall for Ram's Head concerts. The first is Ram's Head Presents Little River Band, which is scheduled for Friday, June 9th, 2023 from 6 to 9:30 p.m. The second is Toad the Wet Sprocket, June 13th, 2023 from 6:30 to 9:30. And then the final one is Sergio Mendez, which is scheduled for Monday, June 26, 2023, 6 to 9:30. All of these taking place at 801 Chase Street, Annapolis 21401. Dennis, how are you tonight? If you could just give us your name and address for the record and tell us a little bit about these concerts.
Sure, certainly. Dennis Coggin, I'm the facility manager at Maryland Hall, address 308 Linden Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. Our great partner Ram's Head is bringing, how about some of these names, huh? Do you remember these older names here? Yeah, they still travel and they still draw good crowds. So we do a request in a liquor license to do a bar of just beer, wine, water, and we've added sodas now. For about an hour before the concert begins, if each of these bands opt to have an intermission, which is usually 15 to 20 minutes, we like to open back up for that. And then as soon as they restart their second half of their show, we shut down. We do not open after the show is over. And we serve it right out on the main level, our second floor level, which is our orchestra level. And we're using it out of our new community room.
All right, same setup as you pretty much always do, except for the addition of soda now these days, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
We
All
found
right.
it's worked well with us for the last dozen years, it seems like. So it's like, don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I agree. Does the board have any questions regarding these requests?
I move we approve.
All right, is there a second?
I
I'll
second that.
second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Dennis, your requests are granted. Have fun with some of those bands, all right?
Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Dennis.
Take care.
Good luck.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, next is a request by the Boatyard for a special Class C one-day liquor license, or excuse me, by the Annapolis Maritime Museum for the Boatyard Beach Bash, which is scheduled for September 9th, 2023 from 4 to 10 p.m. at 723 2nd Street, Annapolis 21401. And I see we have Miss Estrada here tonight.
Yes, you do.
Hey, how are you?
Kelly Porter, I'm here too. We are
Kelly's
here.
too? Okay, great. If you guys could just give us your names and addresses for the record and tell us a little bit about the Boatyard Beach Bash.
Okay, Alice Estrada, 1764 Broadway Trail, Annapolis 21401, and our facility address is 723 2nd Street, Annapolis 21403. I'm with the Annapolis Maritime Museum. Our mission is to educate youth and adults about Annapolis's rich maritime heritage and the ecology of the Chesapeake Bay. The Boatyard Beach Bash is a significant fundraiser for the museum.
And
I'm
Alice, I'm sorry to interrupt. Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. Go ahead if you're going to do that. And then I just saw we have Miss Spokley who joined us too. So I'm going to get her name and address too.
So I'm Kelly Swartout. I'm the Vice President of Development for the Annapolis Maritime Museum. My address is 1690 Winchester Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21409.
Great. And Lizzie, if you could just give us your full name and address too, please.
My name is Lizzie Spokley, and my address is 504 Placid Court, Odenton, Maryland.
Okay, great. And sorry to interrupt you ladies, but I'll turn it back to you, Alice, if you want to tell us about this or whoever wants to chime in.
Okay, well, I'll give you the overview. The Boatyard Beach Bash is, are we in our 12th year? What? 18 years? Oh my God, 18 years. I really don't have my facts straight. So anyway, it is the Coral Reefer Band. We do this in conjunction with the Boatyard Bar and Grill, specifically Dick Franyo. He's recruits coral reefers to come up and do a benefit concert for the museum. It really is a well-oiled machine. It's, a mature audience. That's a problem for the coral reefers. They got to get some folks that are following them. But at any rate, it's a great event. It's a series of concerts. It's a ticketed event. This year, we're going to do an all-inclusive for $150. So that people can come in. They will be ID'd when they check in. They do have, it is obviously all sold out, pre-sold tickets. So we just have to ID them when they get in and we band them. And we do have police officers, the same Annapolis City police officers that are with us through all of our events, and they're wonderful. And we do. Okay, go ahead.
So
Kelly, jump in.
Yeah, so in order to really make it worthwhile for our community, we have invested in barriers. So we want to keep our audience in our area. We don't want to disrupt any traffic or anything. So they will be here. We do have our police officers. They are kind of milling around and making sure everything is in good shape. The parking, as you know, in Eastport, as we learned earlier, is really an issue, but we use Safe Harbor Marina and we shuttle people down. So we ask them to park there and we shuttle them down. And then we have 60 dedicated spaces that are for our top donors to sponsors to come and enjoy the event.
Yeah, so we have one ingress and egress. So that's all monitored by our officers and also volunteers. Trying to think. What other questions do you have? This is a well-oiled machine.
And we have professional bartenders that really monitor. They're all tips trained.
That's Boatyard staff. So we really can. This is an easy event for us.
All right. Well, thank you. Let's see if the board has any questions. Any questions about this event?
I move we approve.
I second it.
A second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Your request is granted. Keep the machine well oiled.
Good luck.
Well,
Thank
and,
you.
honestly, that's been through a lot of guidance that the liquor board has given us over the year as to what to do. So yeah, we can, and I love it because our volunteers take it so seriously in our police. I mean, we had the oyster roast, and the governor had to pour out us drink.
So we like to hear.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, got it, Mayor."
Now, we do seriously appreciate all that you do. You run it's true. You run a well-oiled machine, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you there.
Thank you. Good, good, good.
And don't go anywhere because you guys are next on the list here too. We've got now an application for several special class C one-day liquor licenses for the Annapolis Maritime Museum Tides and Tunes Summer Concert Series. These are scheduled for Thursdays, June 15th through August 17th from 6 to 9:30 at 723 Second Street, Annapolis, 21401. I hate to make you guys do it again, but I need names and addresses.
Okay. Alice Estrada, 1764 Broadley Trail, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Our facility address is 723 Second Street, Annapolis, 21403.
Kelly Sword Out, Annapolis, 1690 Winchester Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21409.
Lizzie Spokely, 504 Placid Court, Odenton, Maryland.
All right, thank you. And Alice, if you want to tell us about the concert series this year.
Well, the concert series is, you know, a Annapolis staple now. It started 11 years ago. Well, that's not exactly true. Before that, it was maritime concerts and about 25 people came. So then we mixed it up a little bit. So it has been really a great opportunity for the museum to connect community. It really is people of all ages, families, you know, older, younger, millennials, boomers. So at any rate, we usually generally attract between 500 and 1,000 guests. And once again, we graduated to tips trained professional bartenders. That was a big thing for us to do that because we used to rely on volunteers and they really are so great. They're and so we ID at ticket sales and at the bartenders are trained to ask. I'm going to defer to Kelly and Lizzie and see if they have any other.
The bartenders are trained to ask, and we do have our our Annapolis police forces on staff, and they mill around and they let us know if anything is disruptive or out of order for that piece of it. We do again, we have barriers because I know Eastport Yacht Center, they do have traffic coming in and out. We have barriers put up there so that we're not obstructing the road. And we have volunteers that are really making sure that no one carries out anything or carries in anything to make sure everybody has a pleasurable experience. We ask.
Tell them about the service cups this year.
Yeah, so this year we are going to a net zero waste event. And we have partnered with a company where we're having Tervis cups. People are going to have to buy a Tervis cup that they can use all season long, and they get their first drink free at the first concert, and they'll be able to use that all year long. We're going to have we partnered with Annapolis Green. They're going to be able to wash their cups. They're going to be able to do things, but it's going to be a net waste. So there's not going to be a lot of trash. I know that over the years that some people have complained that there's been trash for cups, red cups or whatever. We're not going to have any of that this year. All the neighbors have been updated on our Tides and Tunes concert. Many of our concert goers are our neighbors and they're in walking distance. Many come by boat. So I think everything is really in good order for this year's concerts. We have more volunteers that are going to really help to do things. And then we have staff that are trained with crowd control, which is really essential for this because some of them. So we are really in good shape. Lizzie Spokely is going to be that logistics person on staff, and she has made sure that the police and all our volunteers are well trained, making sure that everybody conducts themselves appropriately.
And I will say, we really haven't had any issues with alcohol over the years. We've had some health issues. So that's why we keep one lane, we partition off one lane. So it's good access for emergency services. But we have had a couple incidents, I have to say, over the past 10 years where people have had, but it's not been a result of, over serving themselves. It's really been unrelated health issues.
All right. Does the board have any questions regarding this year's concert series?
I do. Alex. Okay. 500 to 1,000 people. How do you handle bathrooms?
Great question. So to be honest with you, we have 6 stalls here in the museum. We have had the porta potties for some of our events, and we have found people didn't use them. And we do find that with the 6 stalls, we're keeping up. We've talked about it because really, it's hard on our bathrooms, but so far it just hasn't been an issue. There, of course, there's lines from time to time, but it's not been a big problem for us.
People would rather wait in the line, just.
And use a real facility to stand and use a porta potty.
Wash their hands.
So is it 6 stalls, like 3 for women and 3 for men, or?
Correct.
And a handicap.
Yeah,
for
6
women.
and a handicap bathroom, a designated
Okay,
handicap. So really 7 altogether.
Right.
It is, but here, you have to remember our concerts are 2 hours. So yeah, so it's not like, yeah.
Well, that's
Why are you laughing?
because a lot of your customers are aged.
Don't say it, Dick. Don't say it.
Chairman, I move we approve.
Second.
Thank you, Dick. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the requests are granted. Have fun and keep those bathrooms empty for Dick.
You know what? I can take you to the bar trap.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you separate access, which we give for the band. So yes.
No, he is not a VIP. All right, come on.
All right, thanks, guys. Have fun.
Thanks,
Okay.
thanks.
Night.
All right, we're gonna combine items 11 through 16 on the agenda as well. These are all requests for special Class C liquor licenses for the Naval Academy Athletic Association for the Annapolis Blues soccer matches. Give me a second here to read them. The first one is scheduled for June 10th, 2023 from 7 to 9:30. The second, June 18th, 2023 from 5 to 7:30. Then we have a July 1st, 2023 from 7 to 9:30, July 9th, 2023 from 5 to 7:30, July 22nd, 2023 from 7 to 9:30, and then July 30th, 2023 from 5 to 7:30, all taking place at 511 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis 21401. Mr. Givens, good to see you tonight. If you could just give us your name and address for the record and tell us about these events.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Bill Givens, and my address is 8 North Southwood Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, go ahead and tell us about the Blues soccer matches.
Okay, so as you may have either seen in the Capitol or seen on social media, the Annapolis Blues are calling Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium their home for this upcoming summer. We've had 2 games already, May 10th and June 3rd, which I came before the board back in April, I believe it was, for those permits. And you've read off the dates for the rest of the summer. And for those of you that may have been at the game on June 3rd, it was a great event. They broke the Blues broke the league all-time attendance, single game attendance record. And it's a very fan-friendly family event, and we look to continue it this weekend, next weekend, and throughout the summer. But as we have done at all the events at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, where we've served beer, we'll have the following protocols in place. The gates will open 1 hour prior to the event. Beer sales will end at the 22nd minute mark in the second half. This is a ticketed event. Sodexo will be, as our concessionaire, will be selling and serving the beer, and there'll be 100% ID checks. And those served will be given a wristband to identify themselves as having been ID checked. And it'll be a limit of 2 beers per customer per transactions. And Sodexo's servers are tips trained and up to date on their training. We also empower all of our servers to deny sales to anyone that they feel is intoxicated or has been overserved. We'll have safe security, our security provider at the gates and in the stadium, making sure that no alcohol, no beer comes in or exits the stadium, and then also keeping an eye out for any underage potential drinking or anyone that could potentially have been overserved. We'll also have Annapolis Police on site helping us out with crowd control. In addition to that, we'll have EMTs in our first aid room through our contracted provider, Special Event Medical Service. The entire stadium is gated and there's limited access in and limited access out. And as I mentioned, we do have security there monitoring the ebb and the flow. We've done this for the two previous games with great success. And as you all know, I came before you back in January for our lacrosse season, and we had a good season selling beer at our lacrosse games this year. And we feel that we've got a good plan in place, a good blueprint, as it were, and have had experience selling beer at events such as this, and would like to continue to do so. We do have, knock on wood, we've not had any issues with our beer sales, but we feel that we've got the necessary pieces in place and protocols in place to handle any situation should it arise. And so having said all that, I'll pause here and I'll open it up to any questions that you all may have for me.
With that thorough of a presentation, I'm not sure there will be a lot of questions. Does anybody have any for Mr. Givens?
Mr. Chairman, I motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Givens, your requests are granted. Thanks so much and have fun.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
All right, next up, we have a special class C request for Historic Annapolis Inc. for the Pekka Girlfriends Party, which is scheduled for June 21st, 2023 from 5 to 9 p.m. 186 Prince George Street, Annapolis 21401. Let's see who's here. Hi, Ms. Bedsworth, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Great, thanks. We could just get your full name and address for the record, and then you can tell us about this year's Girlfriends Party.
Yep, it's Kaylin Bedsworth. The address is 619 North Bestgate Road, Annapolis, Maryland 21401. And the Pekka Girlfriends Party, this is our 15th year. It is one of the primary fundraisers for Historic Annapolis, our local history preservation nonprofit. We have approximately 600 guests who will be attending this outdoor event in the William Pekka Garden. It does support Historic Annapolis's mission to preserve the history and heritage of Annapolis, protect our historic resources, and connect the public to the history and heritage of our area. In regards to the actual event logistics, we have pretty much gotten this down to a science. It is a 21 and up only event. We will be IDing at the door, checking IDs at the door. All of our bartenders are professional tip certified bartenders. We switched to that a couple of years ago, and for the same reason Maritime has, just a little more comfortable. Guests all enter through one entrance where IDs are checked. We do have emergency exits, but those are monitored by staff to ensure nobody enters through those. We will have live music by Orlando Phillips, which is a single steel drum gentleman who adds to the atmosphere, and that will be until about 8. I think we have him cutting off at 8 this year. The event ends at 9, and we start at 5 for VIPs. We have 3 bars, plus we actually have a mobile bar, which is Tiny Bubbles. They are also a professionally licensed bartending company. We haven't had any issues. We've had no noise complaints. And one thing that we are doing differently this year that I didn't actually include on our initial application is we are going to hire 2 security guards. We have determined we are going to add that to our security outfit. So we will have one out front and one within the party to help us with any issues that hopefully will not arise, but in case they do. I'm also pleased to say that First Lady Dawn Moore is our honorary chair. She will be attending, so that she will also have security present. So just in case anything happens, they're there to help as well.
All right. Does anybody have any questions regarding this event?
I'm actually just curious, was there anything, I mean, obviously the first lady coming there would garner, needing more security, but was there anything, has anything happened in the past that just would all of a sudden make you guys decide to get a
No,
couple of security guards?
nothing has happened. We actually have a new board member who owns a security company. And he recommended that because it's such a large event and just with the number of, the way our society is right now, we're just trying to be precautious and ensure that we keep everybody safe.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve if, there's no other questions.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, your request is granted. Thanks so much.
Thank you all very much.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Have fun as you guys usually do. Enjoy.
Have
We
fun.
always do.
And can you come and redecorate my office? Because I really like that background.
Thank you. Sure. I'll be there tomorrow.
Great.
Thanks.
Have fun.
All right, next up, we have another request for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property. Back Creek Benefits. This is for East Porter Rock in 2023, which is scheduled for Saturday, June 24th, 2023, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Located on 2nd Street between Back Creek and Eastern Avenue and Bayshore Drive. Bayshore Avenue. And Jessica, if you could unmute yourself, give us your name and address for the record, and tell us about East Porter Rockin' this year.
Hi, yep, it's Jessica Packler, 506 President Street, Eastport. And East Porter Rockin' 2023 is following the same well-practiced plan that we've had for the last 25 years as it's grown. But so we are going to have 4 stages on the block of land that's basically between Eastern Avenue and Back Creek, encompassing 2nd Street, Bayshore Avenue, 105 Eastern Avenue, the 105 Eastern Avenue property, and the Maritime Museum. The festival is going to have 40 bands on the 4 stages and will benefit the Annapolis Musicians Fund for Musicians, AMFM, and the Annapolis Maritime Museum, as well as local charities like Eastport Elementary, Annapolis Middle School, the Volunteer Fire Department, and others as they arrive. Our plan is, like I said, the same as we have done. We have ID checks at all entrances. We have ID checks at all entrances and wristbands, and then wristband checks at all alcohol serving locations, as well as random checks throughout the event. We have a security team of 12 security professionals that are there, as well as the Annapolis Police Department is on site to handle anything that goes beyond what the security team can handle. Sorry, my son keeps playing music upstairs. If you hear that, I'm very sorry. But other than that, we have fencing at any location that isn't an already secured location. We have fencing there. We have volunteers and security stationed at all water access points to make sure that nobody can sneak in by the water. And we are looking forward to a fantastic day in Eastport.
All right, no issues last year that we should know about?
None.
Perfect. Any questions from the board?
Nope, you guys do a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you.
All right, well,
I move we approve.
all right, is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, your
Thank you
request is
all.
granted.
Hope to see you on the
Thanks so
24th.
much. All right, now we move into some follow-up parklet or private parking lot requests. The first one is for 1771 G&T 26 Market Space, Annapolis 21401. And this would be, anybody's here for this one.
The chair does not appear that we have anyone here.
Okay, and I think it's late enough that they're probably not going to appear. So Cindy, if you could let them know that.
Can I try to get Dr. Sam a call because I confirmed with him? Can I try to call him?
Yeah, you can try.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, well, we will come back to that one. The next one is Church MRG LLC trading as Aqua Al Deux, located at 236 Main Street, Annapolis 21401. And who do we have here from Aqua?
Hi, hold on just a sec. I'm trying to get my video going.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Hi there, everybody. My name is Stacy. I'm one of the owners of Aqua Al Deux, and we'd like to start a seasonal parklet at the top of Main Street, overlooking the street down to the water. So we've applied for the 2 spaces in front of the building. We'd like to do approximately 4 tables, maybe a 5th if we can, and seating about 20 to 25. We will have repurposed wood tables with Singer sewing bases. We'll have bistro style chairs, metal chairs, and some wooden chairs out there. We'll have a couple of heat lamps for when it gets colder, and some umbrellas, and all that's been approved by Historic. We plan to just have the same style of service we do inside, just outside. So people will come to the host stand and then they'll be seated outside, and they'll have a server, waiting on their table, the exact same as inside is our plan.
Okay, and you're gonna have somebody out there to make sure that nobody gets up with a drink and walks away, walks down Main Street or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our servers are pretty vigilant about their tables, and they'll definitely be present, to make sure nobody gets up and walks around, and make sure nobody walks away without paying. So they're pretty vigilant about their tables. So we'll definitely make sure that people aren't getting up and leaving. Yeah.
All right, great. Any questions? All right, well, I would move that we approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
All right, next we have a request by the Boatyard for seasonal use of their private parking lot. This is actually 90 Miles to Cuba, Inc., 404th Street, Annapolis, 21403.
Mr. Chairman, before you begin, I was able to reach Dr. Sam, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, we'll take him right after the Boatyard. Thanks, Cindy. Hey, Kevin, how are you tonight? If you could just give us your full name and address and let us know about this request.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Kevin Schendel. I live at 412 Golf Course Drive, Arnold, Maryland, 21012, and I'm the general manager of the Boatyard.
Okay, thanks. And I see you brought the boss man over there. Mr.
I did indeed.
Give us your full name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Richard Franyo, 29 Eastern Avenue, Annapolis, 21403.
All right, go ahead and let us know about this request to use your outside parking lot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like we have done in the 3 years prior, we once again seek your permission to serve alcohol outside in our tent. And we've used the same setup for the past 3 years. We've kind of established a nice perimeter out there in the tent to control people leaving with alcohol. We always have 2 hosts outside, 3 servers. We don't do any live music. No alcohol leaves the premises. And, unlike maybe some others who get complaints, we seem to get a lot of compliments. It's a very nice space, always free of trash, noise, and debris. And we'd like to continue with service this year.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the Boatyard folks regarding this request?
I'm just curious, I just, what originally, I mean, I think there were 10 spots or something like that out there, or 9. I mean, have you, does that hinder your business at all with having this huge tent out there? based on parking?
You want to answer that, Kevin, or?
Well, I don't think it hinders us at all. We've lost 8 spaces. We still have the handicap space accessible. And the feedback that we get from our guests is that they really enjoy the space out there. It's decorated well, and it's a great vibe. And quite often, it's the first spot to fill up outside before the inside does.
Interesting. Thank you.
I think more and more people are taking Uber, and we get a huge amount of water taxi people coming over.
Kevin, what time do things typically wind down outside into the tent? Like, what do you have like a cutoff for service out there?
We do. We cut it off an hour earlier than our
Than the
kitchen does
restaurant.
inside. Yeah, just to make sure that we keep our neighbors happy and keep it quiet and keep Eastport the way it is.
Kevin, what time is that?
So on Fridays and Saturdays, our kitchen is open to 11. So we stop seating like about 9:45, and typically it's empty by 10:30. And then during the week, it'd be about 9:30 would be the latest you'd see anybody outside.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Gentlemen. You run a tight ship. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Come see us.
Will do.
We will. We're gonna back up here and go back to 1771 G&T 26 Market Space, Annapolis 21401. Mr. Sami there?
Yes.
Okay, great. Why don't you tell us a little? First of all, give us your full name and address for the record, and then tell us about your parklet request.
Yes, my name is Joydeep Stam. I'm at 519 Scrimshaw Lane in Severna Park, Maryland. Our space is at 26 Market Space as part of 1771 G&T. We have currently a liquor license for our place as well as a sidewalk cafe. Last year, we applied for a exemption to get the parklet space and serve alcohol in the parklet space, and we're reapplying again for this year for similar.
All right, no issues last year with the use of the parklet space?
No, once we got everything in compliance, we were all set. It was mostly a structural thing, but we put a deck out there to keep our guests within that parklet space.
And it's just going to be the exact same setup as you've had?
Exact same setup as we had from June 1st till November 30th.
All right, great. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you guys were done with it. Looked like you were doing some construction, and when you will be
Fully open. Yes. So we right now we open just rarely, every week or so, just for just to okay. But our second floor is nearly done to our specifications. The first floor is going to be a bigger renovation, and so hopefully July 1st. We had some of the typical permit issues that sometimes come up, and so we started a little bit later than we anticipated. But BGC is doing our construction, is doing a nice job, and we're progressing along nicely.
Okay, so what will your hours be like?
When we're fully open again?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be we'll be open from 11:30 till 10 p.m. Monday through Wednesday. Thursday will be open till midnight. This is not the parklet outside, mind you. And then inside will be open till 2 a.m.
All right, any additional questions regarding the request for the parklet?
What time is last call for alcohol if you're open till 2?
Typically it's around 1:30 is last call.
Okay.
Any further questions?
I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, your request is granted.
Thank
Good
you. I
luck.
appreciate it. All right.
Thanks.
Take care now.
All right, and now I'm just making sure I didn't skip one. We're on to another request for the use of a parklet by Federal House Bar and Grill, 20 Market Space, Annapolis 21401. Let's see, do we have anybody here from?
We do. They're They're coming before I leave.
All right, is Mr. Hogan here for, or is he here for Federal House?
Yeah, as well as Ms. Rossetti.
I think Mr. Rossetti might be main market.
Are they doing these together, Main and Market and Federal House?
No.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes, sir, they are. They both are on the request.
Right, but they're two separate requests. Right, yeah, so we're gonna hear them separately. So, Mr.
People are
Hogan,
from Main and Market.
they're both from Main and Market?
Yeah.
Mr. Hogan, are you there? Ms. Rossetti, are you there?
I'm here, Jimmy. I'm just trying to sign in.
Yeah, it's all good. And Tom, are you here for Federal House?
I'm here for Main and Market.
You're here for Main and Market. Okay, so we don't have anybody here from Federal House. You guys are here for Main and Market.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. So what we'll do then, Cindy, can you try to reach out to the folks at Federal House? Because it looks like Mr. Hogan and Ms. Rossetti are the last two.
I was under the impression that Miss Rossetti was going to be representing Federal House.
So it looks like Ms. Rossetti, I'm looking at the email. Ms. Rossetti is controller and marketing at Main and Market.
It looks like Mr. Rossetti is also having issues connecting to.
Okay. Well, but Mr. Hogan, she's with Main and Market, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
us too for Federal Catering LLC, Main and Market.
Okay. So Federal Catering LLC, maybe there was a mix up because it's Federal Catering and Federal House.
I'm also the co-owner of both. So
Okay, you're the co-owner of both. Okay, gotcha.
if that's helpful.
Makes sense then. Yeah, that helps. Sorry, we didn't have all of these names here and I apologize. So, all right, well, let's start with Federal House, 20 Market Space. Mr. Hogan, why don't you tell us about this parklet request?
Again, Jimmy, I was here for Main and Market, but I know that we're looking for a continuation of.
Okay, so I think the confusion here, and I'm sorry to interrupt, is that Bemby Beach LLC is Federal House Bar and Grill, and that's 20 Market Street. And you guys are Federal Catering LLC, which is 914 Bay Ridge, right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
I can speak to if you'd like.
Well, I don't want you to speak to Federal House because that's a different location that you're not involved with, right?
I'm not a licensee there, but I will call the licensee right now.
Okay, but you own you own Federal House.
I'm a co-owner, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, then I'll let you. Okay. I mean, if you want to speak to Federal House Bar and Grill, then I'll let you go ahead and talk about the parklet application since you probably know about it.
Absolutely, and it's really a continuation, much like the Boatyard and the others, with absolutely no changes in the outside dining area, filling in the market space, which we've been renting that whole area, with a combination of the 5 restaurants of Middleton's, McGarvey's, Market Space, ourselves, and the Rooster. And so we've been renting that. It's been going very smoothly. It's clean. It's neat. Seems to be well received, and we're asking for an extension of that.
All right, great. Well, I'm sorry about the confusion between the multiple Federal Houses.
It happens.
Yeah, and so does anybody have any questions regarding this continuation of the parklet use?
Do we need Mr. Hogan to give his name and address for the record? Do we already do that? Did I miss?
Yeah, no, we didn't. Okay, but we'll do it now. So Mr. Hogan, if you could give us your name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Thomas Hogan, 845 Coachway, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Mr. Hogan other than his name and address?
No, I just a comment. I mean, you guys keep it really neat and tidy. And I've noticed that just walking through there. And, personally, I really appreciate it. How you guys, everything is just clean, neat, tidy. And there seems to be no problems, at least while I walk through there during the daytime. So just wanted to say, keep up the good work and appreciate it.
Thank you. We work hard at it.
Yep, I know. I motion for approval.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, your continuation is granted. Stay right there, because I now know that you own Federal Catering LLC, which is trading as Main and Market, 914 Bay Ridge Avenue, 21403. This is a request for the private parking lot use. Mr. Hogan, name and address for the record again, please.
Sure. Thomas Hogan, 845 Coachway, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, go ahead and tell us about the use of the private parking lot in front of Main and Market.
Again, a continuation of using the 3 parking spaces, 30 feet under a 20 by 30 canopy. And in there we have 6 standard picnic tables. So, and that's, it's well landscaped, it's kept clean. I think I've pretty much seen all of you there eating inside or out at one point or another. And it's well received, it's well kept. And my neighbors are happy, and we'd like to keep going till the end of the year.
All right. Any questions about this request?
Any plans for that space next to you that would ultimately maybe change things? It doesn't look like anything's moving in anytime soon, but
It
where the
is
old
a
Jerry's was.
Domino's corporate store, and they're having some permitting trouble. They're gonna have to put in a grease trap. They have the issues that need to be brought up to code, and I guess since it's a corporate store, they just haven't been in a hurry. I'm not sure. It's been they've had it. They're under a lease as far as I know.
Did you say Domino's? Am I
It's
hearing you correctly?
Be a corporate Domino's. That's what my landlord tells me.
So nothing in the near future that's going to affect what you guys are doing in those spaces in front of them.
No, but it might, if they open tomorrow and said, "Hey, Tom, look, you got to take that, you take it up," and because we have nowhere to park. They do have spaces right in front of the store, but if it comes to it, we'll work it out. We're neighbors. Well, maybe we'll share it. Maybe I'll take it up. I'm not sure.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve.
All right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, your request is granted, and I apologize. I will never forget that you own the Federal House and Main and Market again. I was
Right, Jimmy.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Enjoy it.
Tom.
Thanks.
We appreciate you.
Did anybody show up from Grumps tonight?
No, sir.
Another one
confirmed
passes.
with-
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
see your
confirmed with my-
notification right here.
Yeah.
All right, another one passes. Cindy, if you could reach out again and let them know. All right, that is the last item on our agenda for tonight. We got a couple things to talk about and an executive session. I move that we go off the record and reconvene in an executive session.
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.